I'll just do it.
Ready to roll? All right, good evening, everyone. Call the meeting to order. The Board of Adjustment meeting, April 18th, 2023, here at the Winterville Town Hall Assembly Room. Welcome, everyone. Need to go through the agenda, get a motion to approve the agenda
Motion to
from last meeting.
I second.
Second?
Yeah.
Tonight's agenda, sorry. I was thinking the minutes. Mistake. So, motion, Mr. Killian, seconded. Mr. Phillips, all in favor? Aye. All right. So with that, we'll move on to new business. Parcel number 85711. Oh, you open up the. Yeah, that's. Okay, so we don't have minutes, all right. So moving on to new business, everybody good? Okay, all right, parcel number 85711. It's Reedy Branch Road, special use permit request for Class A single-family mobile home on an AR zoned lot. So with that, do we want to go ahead and bring everyone up, or you want to wait till after Stephen presents? King, you good with that, or?
We'll let him get his background.
Okay, perfect, all right.
Good evening, Board. We have, at the town of Winterville, received a special use permit for a Class A single-family mobile home. The applicant is the property owner, Miss Nakia Mitchell. This is located on the eastern side of Reedy Branch Road, roughly 1,800 feet north of the intersection of Reedy Branch Road and Highway 11. It's a 1-acre site that is zoned agricultural residential. We often refer to that as AR as well. If you look at this map, it's a little bit hard to see on the screen, but there is a blue square right here. That's the 1-acre site. You can see Highway 11 traveling this way, the intersection of Reedy Branch Road. So we are talking about this 1-acre site. Again, the applicant is the property owner who wishes to place a single-family, Class A single-family on her parcel for parcel number 85711 on Reedy Branch Road. We define a Class A single-family home as a mobile home with multi-sectional sections that meet or exceed the construction standards of HUD. Class A single-family homes are permitted as a special use within the agricultural residential zone. With that, there's a special requirement 3. Special requirement 3 essentially states that the mobile home shall have a length that does not exceed 4 times its width, that it shall have at least 20-foot sides, that the pitch of the roof is at a minimum rise of 2 2/10 feet for every 12 feet of horizontal run, that the exterior siding shall consist mostly of vinyl or aluminum horizontal lap siding that does not exceed reflectivity of gloss white paint, not highly reflective. Wood, hardboard, or other types of siding that's similar in appearance and durability. It also requires a continuous, permanent masonry foundation, unpierced except for the required ventilation and access. Tongue axles, transportation lights, towing apparatus must also be removed on final placement. And the home must be placed on land that is owned by the land and the mobile home. So the mobile home has to be owned by the owner of the land and listed as real taxed property. Mobile home shall also be oriented no more than 20 degrees parallel from the front of the property. So essentially, the front of the mobile home must face the front of the property. And by this, we mean the front of the mobile home, which has the entrance leading into the living room, the foyer, or a hall, or the longest dimension of the mobile home side. The applicants submitted on their application that they are intending to place a 2023 double-wide, single-family home located on land in which she owns. A home that is 28 foot by 68 foot, double-wide with vinyl siding and a brick foundation, a 3/12 pitch roof, parallel to the property line, tongue axles, transportation lights, and all towing apparatus will be removed. This is an image of the home that the applicant submitted. Again, this is the location. Staff's recommendation is to review the special use permit and the application to determine if it is appropriate for this use at this location. Board of Adjustment sign was placed on the subject property on April 4th. 2 legal ads were placed within the Daily Reflector to advertise the hearing on April 6th and April 12th. Adjacent property owners and those within 100 foot of the property were also notified by mail sent on April 4th. If anybody has any questions for staff, I'd be happy to assist. Thank you.
Question? Before we open up the public hearing, we need to get anyone who's planning to speak for or against to come up and get sworn in, if you will, please.
Be bashful.
All right, get a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Mr. Killian first. Mr. Phillips second. All in favor? All right. We'll open up the public hearing of this special use permit. So when you come up, if you will, state your name and whether or not you are for or against this motion or this special use permit, please. Okay, let's split it up. Okay. So we'll start out who's speaking for the special use permit. Anyone? Okay. Let the record show that no one is speaking for it. Anyone who's against, we'll go ahead and get them up now, please. All right. And if you will, state your name and, all right.
My name is Sandy Gail Edmondson, and I'm the resident living at 5203 Reedy Branch Road, which is the parcel touching the property of the parcel listed in the special use application. A trailer does not blend, to me, seamlessly with the current neighborhood or the 3 subdivisions on Reedy Branch Road. Trailers depreciate in value through the years and devalue property. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak against?
Good evening. My name is John Kiefer, and I do not live adjacent to this. I am actually 10 feet out of the bounds for this discussion, but I thought I'd put my input in there. I'm agreeing a lot with what Sandy has said, and I am concerned about what this change to allow this on the property will do to other properties if, for example, I decide that I want to put a trailer there. Do I, on mine, do I have to go through the same process again, and will it be granted? It kind of opens a bag of worms, in my opinion, to give this property a change in its status. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. And thank you, Ms. Edmonds. Anyone else who'd like to speak at this point? We'll make sure any for or against, just to make sure we cover everyone. Okay. All right. Okay, I get a motion to close the public hearing. Mr. Phillips, second, and Mr. Killian. All in favor? All right, 100%. All right, so with that, we have there is a, I don't know, Stephen, if you want to go through the criteria, or Keen, kind of what we're going to go through here and how it plays out. So you want to give a little, there's requirements, of course, we got to meet the requirements, and
We'll walk through the findings of fact we've got.
okay.
I guess I'll ask. Under special requirement matters that are
Yes. I have checked 2 or 3 times. In fact, this afternoon I checked again her application, what her application states meets special requirement 3. This will be insured as well once, if approved through a zoning compliance.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Killian has a question.
Is there a land use plan, and if there is for that area, what does it specify?
That's a great question. I would assume that it's rural residential. It very well could be urban residential. It'd be one of the two, but it would be a residential future land use plan in that area.
So is there, I did have a question too, Stephen. Is there any other, I guess, zoning requests that have been turned down in that area? Because, I mean, we don't actually see that. That's more planning and zoning, right? Or any precedent, I guess, to this?
Yeah,
that we've seen recently?
most recently, just north of this parcel itself, I'm going to guess roughly 35 acres. There was a few months ago, somebody applied for an R6 zoning district on the 35-acre parcel. That was turned down by council. So that's the most recent, and to my knowledge, it's been a while since we've seen another rezoning in that area.
How common are special use permits for mobile homes in residential areas?
Not very common.
It's not very common?
I'll say as a special use permit, over the 9 years I've worked here, you know, and keep in mind, a special use permit is only required when there is the special use requirement. And I believe it's only in the AR zoning district. And I have not seen one while I have worked here, to my knowledge. So it's not a request that we see very often. I will say that as for sure.
If I might, these are all great questions. The board has the opportunity to ask the questions of staff, but in I guess what I'll sort of draw your focus to, what we're doing tonight is we have the petition that Stephen's gone over, and your task, if you will, is to take the information that you have in front of you, which essentially is the application that's been submitted, and the testimony of the two people that spoke. And your job is to take that information, no matter how slim, and then we'll walk through these findings of fact, and you ask yourself, have I been given the information tonight to answer these questions? And you very may well, I'm not trying to imply one way or another, but just that's what we'll do, is the information in front of you.
Right.
We'll start here whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair,
Okay.
and walk through the findings of fact and see if we can find in favor of them or against them.
All right, so I believe there's 7 different findings of fact required. Is that correct, King? So we've got 1 through 3, and then meeting the criteria for 3.
That's right. Basically what we've got, and if you will, because we've recently done a series of variances, this is the first special
Yeah.
use, so just 2 seconds of sort of background. Some of these findings are similar to variance, but they're a little bit different, but it's sort of the same concept. So what we'll do is, you've got 1 we'll vote on, and then number 2 we'll vote on. And those are similar to what we see with variances. But when we get to number 3 is when we start delving into special use permit. So under number 3, you see you've got an A, B, C, D, and E. So we'll vote for each one of those. So you'll vote for A, vote for B, vote for C.
Okay.
So you'll vote 1 and 2, and then under 3, you actually have 5 votes under
Okay.
3.
All right, because it looks like it goes A, B, C, then we got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then it goes back to D, E? Is that correct?
The C is 1 vote.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
got
C
you.
is,
Those
the
will make
C is
sense.
the SR3s.
All right.
And then you got D and E with,
Okay.
yes, sir.
All right, so we'll run through that. I'll read this, so bear with us. Having heard all the evidence and arguments presenting at the public hearing, the Board of Adjustment makes the following findings of fact. So we'll need to get 3 out of 3 affirm on each one of these, correct?
Actually, because this is special
Oh,
use
that's
permit,
right, that's right.
it's just,
Supermajority.
it's simple
Gotcha.
majority, so.
2 out of 3.
Yes, sir. And let me throw one other thing at you, just because it's a little different variance too. If there is a vote against, so 3-0, 2-1 against the finding, the individual members will have to relate for the minutes why they voted against.
All right, so having heard all the evidence and arguments presented at the public hearing, the Board of Adjustment makes the following findings of fact. So number 1, conditions and specifications, that the application filed as a special use permit for parcel 85711 meets all the required conditions and specifications of the zoning ordinance and policies of the town for a submission of a special use permit. All in favor? Aye. All against? That's a majority. All right. Notice, number 2, that those persons owning property adjacent to the proposed development or use as listed on the current tax records were served notice of the public hearing by mail in accordance with the applicable requirements, and that the notice of the public hearing to consider the special use permit was published on April 6, 2023, and April 12th, 2023, in the Daily Reflector, a newspaper having general circulation in the area and required by law. All in favor? Aye. We have no nays, 100%. Number 3, to hear and decide in particular cases and subject to appropriate conditions and safeguards permits for special uses as authorized by the article and granted a special use permit, the board shall make the following affirmative findings. So we'll go through each one of these and vote on each one individually, correct?
Actually, no, A, B, C, D, through H, these are all coming right out of the
Okay.
The special requirement 3.
Okay, so just read them and then vote at the end, I got you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so A, the use requested is among those listed as an eligible special use in the district in which the subject property is located. The special use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where it's proposed and developed according to the plan as proposed. Letter C, that the special use meets all required conditions and specifications, SR3 Class A mobile home on an individual lot. Under C, we've got the mobile home shall have the length not exceeding 4 times its width. The mobile home shall not be shall be at least 20-foot side. The pitch of the mobile home's roof shall have a minimum vertical rise of 2 2/10 feet for each 12 feet of horizontal run. 2.2 feet and 12 is actually what that means. And the roof shall be finished with a type of shingle that is commonly used in standard residential construction. D, the exterior siding shall consist predominantly of vinyl or aluminum horizontal lap siding that does not exceed reflectivity of gloss white paint, wood, or hardboard. Comparable in composition, appearance, and durability to the exterior siding commonly used in standard residential construction. E, a continuous permanent masonry foundation unpierced except for required ventilation and access shall be installed under the mobile home. The tongue axles, transporting lights, and removal towing apparatus are removed subsequent to final placement. The mobile home shall be placed in land owned by the owner of the mobile home, and the mobile home shall be listed as taxed as real property. The mobile home shall be oriented so that the longest measure shall be no more than 20 degrees from parallel to the front of the property line except on corner lots. The front of the mobile home shall face the front property line. The front of the mobile home is that side which it has an entrance door leading to a living room, foyer, or hall, and is longer than the dimension of the mobile home's sides.
Could I jump in?
Yeah.
And I fear that I got ahead of myself, so let me correct what I said earlier. What you just read was fine. We will have to read through that anyway. But A should have an individual vote, just like
Okay.
you said, and I
Yeah.
said no.
Okay.
So we should have an individual vote on A, an individual vote on B, and then C, all those that came out
Right.
SR is
Okay.
one vote. And I would suggest that if you are going to vote in favor that it meets the requirements of SR3, that those need to be conditions added to the permit saying that all those things should happen.
Okay.
It's stated in the application, the petition or the application that they will, but I think those will need to be conditions. And then you haven't read D and E, we'll do that in a minute, but
Okay.
there'll be individual vote on D and individual vote on
Okay,
E.
so we'll go with C first, since I won't read through all those, and we just finished it.
Yeah, you can do C first.
Okay, I mixed it up a little bit, but I'll go
That'd
back
be
through the
fine.
other two. So for C, all in favor?
But hang on, we're talking about this
All
one
right,
here.
so we've gone, we should get an individual vote on each one of these.
Okay.
I was just going to do C because I just read through all those.
Okay.
If that's okay.
I think that's fine. There's no, we
Okay.
just, as long as we work through each one of them.
Yeah, I'll come back to that one.
And again.
So
if-
what we're voting on this one is that under C, the SR3 Class A mobile home or individual lot, and then all of those criteria.
There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
Yeah.
And again, I would.
Stopping here.
I would recommend that those all be conditions
Yeah.
on the permit to make sure that all those things are ultimately done. If they're not done, then the permit would be revoked. If the tongue wasn't removed, or, and if it's, transport and lights not removed, it's not placed on the property as designed and things like that.
Okay.
But you have to find that you've got enough evidence to approve C.
We want to take a vote on that one? Mr. Killian, I think, is reading through it. Yep. So we're stopping here on this one. Okay. So for C, that the special use meets all conditions and specifications for SR3. All in favor? Aye.
As you got 3-0.
Okay.
And would you also approve that those individual
Yes.
things be a condition?
Yes.
To the permit?
Yes, so what we'd like to do is get a vote on putting those conditions into the permit. So all in favor? Aye. It's got 100% on that. So we're going to step back to A. So the use required is among those listed as an eligible special use in the district which the subject property is located. And I think that's the information that Stephen went through. Is that correct? Okay. All in favor? Aye. So B, that the special use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where the proposed and developed according to the plan as proposed. All in favor? Aye. All right, so on to D,
Correct.
okay? That the special use will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property, or that the use is a public necessity. Can you help with that last little comment there?
Public
What is-
necessity? Well, there could be instances where you're being asked for a special use permit where the purpose of the petition is a structure that the board would feel is a public necessity. Maybe it's something municipal in nature or whatnot.
Okay.
It's not my...
Not saying that it has to be, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
yes,
Okay.
or that it's,
Or that,
the
okay.
use is.
Okay.
It's not my place to tell you, y'all are here, this finders of fact, but, clearly this is a mobile home.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, we got an opposed, and we'll need you to state your concerns.
My concern is that the structure will substantially injure the value of adjoining property.
Okay. We good to move on to E? Okay. That the location and character of the special use, if developed according to the plan as proposed, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of the development of the town and its environs. All in favor? All opposed? We got one, I'm opposed.
Yeah, I'm going to oppose that.
And my reason is simple, that the area is zoned for a specific setup, and there's already existing homes across the street, so it could change that value a little bit, so.
So to make sure I understand, so for number E, the vote was 2-1 against.
Correct.
And you stated your reason. Was your similar reason? Okay. So,
That it's not in harmony with the area in which it's to be located.
Yeah. There's 4 neighborhoods on the other, right across the street from it.
so what that means, of course, that was the last finding of fact that we have to vote on. So then walking back through it, starting with 1, 2, 3, and then under 3, vote on B, C, and D, they were all approved. There was one opposition vote to D,
correct.
but then E was a 2-1 against. So the way this works, just like with the variance, all findings of fact have to be found. So the last one was not substantiated. So then, now what we would do is, now that we voted on this, essentially, we need to have a vote on the special use permit itself, but because one finding wasn't found, then the permit should be denied.
So we'll vote on the
Approval.
findings of fact, approval of the findings of fact, right?
Well, you just.
No, that's done, right?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right.
The last vote is on the permit
Okay.
itself.
All right.
But in order to approve the permit, you
have
have
to
to
have
approve
findings.
each one of the findings, and the last one was denied 2-1.
Okay.
So you can't approve the permit because of the
Okay, so do we even need to do a vote on
I,
that?
I would like to have the vote.
Final, okay.
Yes, sir.
So, those in favor of the special use permit, all in favor?
Well,
Oh.
if those who, well, I guess you can do it that way.
You said-
Really, the vote's to deny it. I
Okay.
mean, those in.
Okay, so those voting to deny the special use permit,
Based on the findings of fact.
based on the findings of fact, that would be against. In favor?
And so
Mr.
two, are you in favor or against?
I don't have a comment on that.
Okay.
Have I got to have a comment on that?
Well, you don't have to have a comment, but you should vote one way or another.
This is just on the special use permit, Mr. Phillips. So on the findings of fact that were,
Okay, so
So-
it's a three to
3-0
zero vote to
to
deny
terminate the
based
permit.
on the finding of fact,
fact.
the denial of E under the findings of fact.
all right. So at this point, the Board of Adjustment did find not in favor of the applicant for the affirmative vote on all criteria listed, so the permit would not be granted at that point. Okay. Anything else we have? Agenda, any reports from the staff?
I saw you guys fairly recently. I don't have much to notify regarding any new development or new projects going on in town, but if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to discuss, or if you have any questions about any developments in town or anything, then I'd be happy to discuss. But other than that, we'll see you next month if we have an application.
Okay, perfect. Anything from
No,
the
sir.
board? All right, get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Keeling? Second, Mr. Phillips, all in favor? Aye. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thank you all.
He and I had a brief conversation. I think so.